The real pastors are back and ready
It's a movie.
to talk more movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Movie talking
excited
time.
for it. Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not really excited about today.
It's understandable.
I'm excited to be on the show and talk with you and our viewers, but
Mm-hmm.
the subject matter. I just want to be honest right off the bat. You know,
Yeah.
maybe my mind will change as we do it.
Yeah. Well,
I'll have
we are
fun.
we are committed to our deep dive of a
We are.
franchise. So
We are committed. You can't pick and choose within a deep dive, friends. You got to go all in.
Yep. Got to go all in, and you got to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right there.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of which, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that later too.
Oh yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Monday to you all. And it's a nice rainy Monday here in Kernersville, North Carolina.
Yes, it is.
And yep. So, what better to do while it's raining than talk about movies and such?
Yep. Can't wait. So, quick catching up. Watch anything good this past weekend?
No.
Nothing.
Unfortunately, no, I didn't really get around to watching anything this weekend. I will say the wife and I did finish Friday Night Lights on Friday night, which is interesting. And so, yeah, we finished that journey. But that is, other than random baseball highlights, that's all I got to watch this weekend.
Gotcha.
How about you?
So, I actually got to watch the one and only Ivan with the girls on Disney Plus. So, I think we might have our first kid review coming up with that. Might have the two older ones come on and do a kid review. Might do that later this week.
Well, it's interesting you say that because my two watched that yesterday at their Gammy's house. Megan's mom kept them yesterday afternoon for us, and I believe they watched that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
heard good things. Heard really good things.
Yep. Plenty to talk about there. That's so I'm like, we need to do a kid review because we talked about doing those. So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe if you can get yours to actually not be shy of the camera. It might be cool to bring them on.
I think Carter will be. Lainey, it depends on the day.
Yeah. So as we get started, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button for us.
Yes.
And just help us out, help build this community, keep sharing it. And again, we want to be a resource for normal people like us who just want a normal person's perspective on movies. And nothing too serious where, everything has to be Citizen Kane, but also nothing too super Christian where you can't watch anything unless it's like about the Bible. That's not us either. So
No. Yeah, so those of you that have subscribed and hit the alert button, we thank you. And Daniel is on board here. There he is.
Yeah.
My man.
Welcome back, Daniel.
Fellow Red Sox fan, by the way. And we thank you for sharing and watching, and thanks for being part of our Real Pastors community.
Yes. So first up, before we start digging into our movie, we want to quickly talk about Chadwick Boseman. Is that how you say his last name?
Yes, Chadwick Boseman. I believe
Chadwick
so.
Boseman, who passed away over the weekend. Was it Friday or?
Yeah, it's Friday evening, I believe.
Friday. Apparently, he had a 4-year battle with colon cancer, and everyone kept a tight lid on it, which respect to his circle. And everyone who knew about it kept a tight lid on it so he could work and have the privacy and stuff to go through that battle with him and his family. And so that was very cool of everybody around them to do that. But it happened, surprised most of the movie world. And so sad to hear it. He was a great talent. Black Panther was his, which is weird. And here we got a picture too. And which is weird because it's like, he did, bigger movies like 42, and I forget the name of the Rick James one. But
he did Get On Up, the James Brown movie.
Get On Up. There we go. Yeah. So he did that as well. And so, he's not like he was a nobody before Black Panther, but Black Panther definitely threw him in the A-list limelight.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, like a lot of people, shocked when I saw the news Friday night. I went to 3 different websites before I texted you, actually, just hoping I would see that it was not true or it was a hoax, but sadly I never saw that, and it was confirmed. 4-year battle with colon cancer, and the fact that he pretty much majority of the Marvel stuff he filmed while battling this. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing that was really cool is to find out he was not only battling cancer himself. While he was doing that, he was visiting kids,
Yep.
and still doing that while on chemo. It was
Mm-hmm.
so much respect for that. So but shocked, saddened, and he did some some really cool things. Black Panther, really solid
Mm-hmm.
movie. Him and Michael B. Jordan were the best part of it, in my opinion. And
Yep.
the other, and we were just talking about 42 a few weeks ago. I
Mm-hmm.
just watched it, and I don't know if you knew this, but pretty ironic, pretty kind of eerie a little bit. But Friday was Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball.
Wow.
It's usually in April, but they moved it to August because obviously
Right.
they're playing in April. But that just kind of like when I remembered that, I was just like, oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it's just one of those things, like you never know what people are going through. You never know what people are trying to, keep to themselves because they want, lightness and levity, around them. They don't want people to be too sad. Because I remember, he put out a video, I guess, I don't know, a week back or something, and people saw how much weight he lost, and they were like, "What's he doing? He's got other things to prepare for," and people kind of
Yeah.
ragged him about it, but it was because he was going through chemo and dying.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
so you never know what people are going through. Always show love and respect to everyone you meet, because you never know what someone's going through.
Yeah, and the comments. I didn't see that video, but looking back, people were like, "What role is he preparing for? What's wrong with
Yeah.
him?" And you just, like you said, you never know. And
Yep.
when he was in, I've never seen the movie Get On Up when he played James Brown. Might check it out now, but that movie has a special place in my heart because when the summer it came out, we were doing a mission trip in Detroit, and I was driving the van around the church van and trying to find a job site, and I got lost in Detroit, and that poster was downtown, and I kept passing that post. That was like my to know where I was going, I looked for the James Brown poster.
Right.
So, when I found out the news, I thought about Black Panther 42 and the James Brown poster that
Right.
kept me safe in Detroit. I didn't end up in Eminem's neighborhood because of Chadwick Boseman. Thank you, sir.
There we go. Good job, sir. So, yeah. So keep his family and such in your prayers. I know that that's gonna be very sad and for them to go through. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about that and honor him
Yeah.
and what he has done and what he did. I think the really most impressive part was why he was battling cancer himself. He was visiting children, and that just really speaks to his character and who he was. So I think that's awesome.
Yep. Indeed. But he will live long in the movie world through the characters he played, and we will visit him often, especially as in the Marvel universe as Black Panther. Wakanda
Yes.
forever.
Yeah, Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now we'll start digging into the topic at hand, our deep dive into Jurassic Park 3.
Yes.
And,
if you're if you haven't been with us the last few weeks, we are digging deep into the Jurassic Park franchise, and today's Jurassic Park 3.
And it's part of the franchise. So
It
we
is.
shall talk about it. And
So, as we start, I have some movie fast facts for us for Jurassic Park 3.
here we go.
Movie fast facts.
All right. So here's some stuff for you. Go ahead, Gary. Do what you got
All
to
right,
do.
so Jurassic Park 3 was released in July 18th, I believe, 2001.
Wait,
it is
put the wrong one up there. My bad, Gary. But continue.
my bad.
No,
Yeah,
you
got ahead of
continue.
myself.
No.
Directed,
You were right. I was wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead.
July 18th, 2001. I was approaching 7th grade. And directed by Joe Johnston. Not Joe Johnson, Joe Johnston. Who, by the way, directed a few of my childhood favorites. The Rocketeer. And Jumanji, the original Jumanji.
Yes.
So we see here domestic box office. I can't read that really. I'm getting old. I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, it's a little smaller for us. Yeah, domestic box office was 181 million and change. And then international was 184 million with change. So worldwide was 365. million.
On a budget of $93 million. So, this movie,
Oh my goodness.
I think it's safe to say, these dinosaur movies, they make money, all right?
Yes.
They make money. Good, bad, indifferent, ugly. People going to see the dinosaurs do their thing.
Oh yeah.
And the cast of this movie, sorry, I forgot about that movie, fast fact. Sam Neill reprises his role as Dr. Alan Grant, one of my favorite characters. So happy to see him back. This is one of the things that
The guy in the
excited
hat.
about this movie. The guy in the hat is back. So we got William H. Macy, Tia Leone, also known as the annoying lady in this movie.
Yes.
And some other people. There's a guy named Billy. I can't pronounce his name. Anyway, he plays Billy.
Alessandro.
Yeah. And I know him as the guy from that movie, that John Travolta movie, Face Off. And just a couple. This movie's got some of those. Hey, that's the guy from so and so type of movies. So yeah, Michael Jeter, I believe, not related to Derek. He is the guy he's in the Green Mile. I remember that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
So, yep.
So, yep. So there are fast facts, and then for those who wanted to see, take a page, bringing back the other one that I brought up that was wrong, but your opening weekend was 50 million, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can see other numbers there. It's like the production budget, like you said, how many theaters that they had, and it had about looks like almost 7 weeks in the theater. That was its run. So yeah. So there's some other good numbers there, and just seeing what it did, and it is. I mean, again, it's another dinosaur movie with the Jurassic Park name. So people still. I mean, I was one. We went out and saw it. So people were still going out ready to do it. Because if I remember from the trailer, it's like, oh, new dinos and stuff like that. Okay, this looks really cool. I know there's a lot of promise. So, yeah. And
the first movie not directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
And was correct me if I'm wrong. Was The Lost World a book?
Yes.
So Jurassic Park and The Lost World, were they both based on?
Yes, they were both
novels?
books. Yeah, by Michael
movie,
Crichton or Cretan.
Yes. So
Something
the first
like
movie
that.
not based on a novel. So this is where the franchise kind of goes away from its roots a little bit.
I think so. I think there was a book. Maybe Daniel can help us out. I think there's a book called Jurassic Park Chaos Theory, or maybe that was just a toy line. I can't remember because I know there's a toy line, but I don't know if it was attached to a book. And I thought
like a really cool toy line.
Yeah, I thought they took some stuff from this movie, but I really can't remember. That's probably I should have looked. I just not thought about it. I wish I would have thought about it sooner to look it up. But I'm pretty sure he wrote these in the books and stuff. So but there's obviously a lot of liberties taken on this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, they get back on Dinosaur Island. All right. So we'll go through the plot a little bit.
And this is and I was gonna show this too again. So you see there.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
We're on the same island as the Lost World. That's where this movie takes place.
Yes.
And so you see the original Jurassic Park logo, and then you see the hold on. There we go. So here's where we're at right here.
Yep.
This is where this movie takes place, is on this island. So Jurassic Park, Jurassic World is here, and this is where we're taking place. This is where we're at. So we're visiting Site B once again.
Site B.
Yep.
All right. So do you want to start digging into this plot, or would you like me to start?
Go ahead, Gary. Show
Okay.
them what's up.
Movie starts off. These guys are hang gliding. Is it hang gliding? Is that what they're doing? Parasailing? Something?
Parasailing.
They're attached to a boat. And they're I guess the tourist in them is to parasail over Dinosaur Island to see if they can see some dinosaurs. And,
Dinosaurs.
And then, chaos happens, chaos theory. And the next thing you know, boom, there's no one driving the boat, and we're fast forwarding to, I believe Dr. Alan Grant from there. And so basically the kid that was hang gliding, parasailing, his parents are trying to find him. So they search out Dr. Alan Grant to help them.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then-
Alan Grant and a team of people to go out and find him, but they didn't tell him.
They didn't tell him. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tell him what exactly was going on. They just made it sound like, hey, we have this great tour that we get to go on, and um, and it's like because we have all this money, and it
William,
just.
William
Anyways,
H. Macy brings his checkbook out at the bar or wherever they're at, and he says, "I can write down any number you want." And he's got and he's got his William H. Macy mustache, and he's all and then basically bottom line is money. But they tell Dr. Grant, Alan, they tell him they're just flying over the island. They're not stopping. So that's important to understand.
and he's supposed to be a tour guide.
Yes, he's supposed to be a tour guide. And so when we find out that it was all a swerve, it was all a ruse, that they tricked him, it's a rescue mission, and they land on Site B. Alan, the team of mercenaries, the Kirbys, the annoying ones, and Billy, who is with Dr. Grant.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, because Dr. Grant says, you got me into this mess, so you're coming with me. And that was the justification for Billy being there.
They land on Dinosaur Island, and guess what? It doesn't go well. It doesn't go as planned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone immediately dies as soon as they land, and then it's just, and then we're not long into the movie, we're introduced into a new dinosaur.
Yep.
The
And, yep. But before we get to that, a little backup here, because I think this is interesting. Sound familiar to King Kong Skull Island? Which, have you seen that yet, Gary?
Not yet.
You're
I'm
not
supposed
yet.
to borrow it from you. I'm supposed to borrow it from you, but I keep forgetting to
Yes.
ask.
But it's just a very interesting point, because it is John Goodman, who's, he's the one who gets them to go to Skull Island. He gets the approval for the funds. And he was like, there's a new island, and we want to chart it before the Russians do. And so, like, because it's set in that time era, with Vietnam and all that nonsense. And and so they're like, yeah, we gotta get them. We want to chart it and find it before anybody else does. Russian satellites are coming. But it was Monarch, and they knew about giant monsters and about this possible Kong, and that's why they were actually there. So, and then, of course, things go awry because humans are stupid and King Kong gets mad. And so, so there you go. Pretty similar. That's pretty interesting, but pretty similar. But thankfully, Kong Skull Island was actually good. But, and actually had good reasons. Other than that,
I don't know if you picked up on it yet, but we don't really like this movie that much. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
It's hard.
But,
it's hard.
I'm trying to, like, honestly, there's so much. There's not much at all I like about this movie. Even talking about the plot, oh man.
Well, because even the plot itself was a little bit of a struggle. But where we were,
don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but where we were, like you're saying, here's our new dino, here's our new big bad, and the Spinosaurus, and the big bad here in this one. Thus, the change of the logo and all that you see right here. So he's the new guy, and in this dino is like, it's honestly a little demon possessed. Like he is like hunting them down with a vengeance. He's like, how dare you set foot on my land? Like he is like pissed the entire time.
Clint Eastwood dinosaur, get off my land.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah,
he's so angry.
He's angry, and I have a question.
Yeah.
If this is this is Site B, correct, from The Lost World.
Yes.
Where was this dinosaur during The Lost World? And I can't credit myself for that question because the Honest trailer for this movie, I think, asked that question.
Oh, really? I didn't watch
trailer?
it. Yeah.
The Honest
Not
trailer
for this
for
one,
Jurassic
though.
Park 3 is really good. Check it out. But watch us first.
Yes.
That's the question I came away with. Like, okay, was he just sleeping
Yeah.
in that movie? I don't know. Maybe that's me overthinking it. I don't know.
But still, if it's supposed to be, if it's in the continuity, and it is lost, like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
this movie suffers from sequelitis quite a bit.
Bigger, better, louder.
Bigger,
yes.
better. Doesn't make sense. No, it just big dinosaur.
Yeah, I know. And I will say, I don't know if it's time for this. Hold on, let me look at our rundown here. Yeah, so I might as well bring this up because we did want to talk a little bit about, what do we like? We want to try to look into things. So I will say, like, honestly, I did like this dino though. Like, I mean, he's crazy and psychotic and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I mean, as a kid, even when I rewatched it, I'm like, I think this dino's cool. I like him. I'll talk about different aspects that I didn't like. But I mean, I just thought it was cool. It was like a cool new threat. He was absolutely crazy. Just going after things. I mean, it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked the dinosaur. Like,
Yeah.
too bad he was in this movie, but
Yeah. 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 I don't mind the dinosaur either. You got to do something different, because I mean, this is our third movie in the franchise. We've seen raptors, we've seen the T-Rex, we've seen the Stegosauruses and all that. So they doing something different. Totally
Yep.
fine with that. But yeah, so I'll agree with that. I like that Sam Neill's in this movie. I think he pretty much is. He's the only character in this movie that doesn't annoy me.
yeah, fair enough.
We got a small cameo, pretty much, from Laura Dern.
You have like
so-
2 scenes.
Yeah, Dr. Sadler, I believe.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else.
Yeah.
I think that the pterodactyls are kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's pterodactyls in this movie, which I don't think we've seen before. Did we? We see pterodactyls.
At the very end of Lost World, you
That's
saw
right.
some.
That's right.
But that was it. You didn't actually see him in action, which that part was actually pretty cool.
I do like the scene where he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a bird cage."
Yeah.
That's done pretty well.
Yeah. I feel like this movie had some like cool like set pieces and some cool like ideas in it, because I did like I said, I like the dino. I like what he did there. I like what they did with that. I like his tenacity and all that. I think that was pretty cool. I did like the whole like, the birdcage scene and the pterodactyls and all that. I thought all that was pretty cool. I like that they did try to continue adding new dinos. Like they had that, I think it was an Allosaurus, the one that like smelled the pile of poop and was just like, no, I'm out of here,
Yeah.
But like, didn't do anything. But I thought it was cool that they tried to like show different dinosaurs that were on the island.
Yeah.
So like I like that, and and it was. I'm just trying to think like, and that's the hard thing is like what else was actually good about this.
Well, I think like for me, like all that stuff's fine. Like just none of the characters other than Alan Grant are likable in this movie.
Yeah,
the Kirbys are so annoying.
Even the kid.
Yeah. It just it just takes me out of the movie, I guess, and it's just
Well, the fact that the kid is like knows it all and has survived on his own, like I didn't like that. It was just like really, like the kid knows everything he needs to do to survive and gets T-Rex pee, but like
you don't want. How'd you get this? You don't want to know. I think that would make a great movie in itself.
Looks like we've kind of moved on to what we don't like. So might as well just go
sorry.
ahead. I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
It is,
I mean,
it's hard.
There's difference. It's hard.
Yeah,
because I mean, like I said, like it's just very small, I guess, moments of I like this in this movie, and it was like if you just want to go into it and just see like some decent raptor scenes, the big dino just wreak havoc, and then a cool little pterodactyl scene. All right, cool. Like if you're into that and you can go through it, then fine. But it was, it just. Even with, like, because when you had the first two, I think that's what makes this even worse. There's already a standard set, and it was hard because even like even just the setup for, and for me here's when I was just like, oh man, it's gonna be that movie again. And I think I was in 8th or 9th grade when this movie came out. I can't remember exactly. Maybe I was in 9th grade. I can't remember, but it was just like at the very beginning when Alan Grant was getting questioned. When he was doing his presentation, people were asking questions, and he was like, "There's no force on heaven or earth that will ever get me back on this island." And I was just like, "It's gonna be that kind of movie, like just cheesy, on the nose." And it's like, "Oh, come on, you can't do that." And so at that point, for me, I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
Until Mr. Kirby brings out his checkbook, that I don't even find out if is legit or not before I go on this mission.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't try to cash it. Like, come on, man.
Daniel in the chat wants us to bring up the Raptor dream.
I know. We were not. Yeah, we were not ignoring it, Daniel.
No,
we just wanted to try to be positive first before we got into this stuff.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah.
So
I know. And like you said, Gary,
yeah.
what you said about the Spinosaurus, I appreciate them trying new things, but I don't know if the talking raptor was the thing to try.
So this scene cracks me up so much. My friend Alan, this raptor comes
Oh
up on my
no.
phone when he texts or calls me. It says Alan, and the raptor's just like,
Oh man.
and
I
it's just,
know.
oh
Just
my
that
gosh.
dream. It's like, oh come
Yeah.
on. Like this was just cheese fest is what it
Yeah.
was. It just
Yeah.
oh man, like I
Yeah.
don't understand like why they took such a great premise
Mm-hmm.
and movies that were for the most part well the first one especially, the second one for the
Mm-hmm.
most part trying to take itself seriously. And
Yes.
this one just decided to like whatever, let's just throw some stuff together cuz the audience will
Yeah.
show up for it and who cares.
Well, the plot has promise, kind of
Yeah.
like what we talked about last week, with Jeff, with Ian Malcolm's daughter and girlfriend being on the island. Okay, their kids on the island. It's a rescue mission, same as kind of pretty much similar to Lost World,
Yeah.
and go from there. But it's just not done well.
No,
know?
not at all. I mean, even the premise of they want to go parasailing, and next to the island with a crappy little video camera to try to see if they can see some dinos. And even when you look out as an audience, all you see is trees. Like, what do you expect
Yeah.
to see?
Yeah.
Like, even just that whole thing, and then they get eaten by something that was in the water. One would assume it's a Spinosaurus, and then they
Yeah.
crash, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Like, why were you doing that anyways? And Denzel, yes, we're still talking about Jurassic Park.
Denzel.
Jurassic Park 3.
We're still talking about dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Yeah. So, and when we brought up the Spinosaurus, Cole did say, looks like like Abomination from Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the first two movies, like we talked about the last couple weeks, we have some deep questions to think about, and we went over those at pretty great length. Is this? And I ask you this question because I can't really think of any. Maybe one. Is there
Right.
any questions like that in this movie? Anything to ponder?
The only thing that to me had any kind of depth, and those watching, if you want to comment and chime in, maybe you found
Chime
something.
in, yeah.
But to me, the only thing that I found interesting, and that honestly I still kind of use in life today, was when Alan Grant was sad about Billy,
Yeah.
and he was still just kind of, and he was like beating himself up because the last thing he did was get onto him for stealing the raptor eggs. And he said, there are two kind of kids growing up: those who want to be astronomers and those who want to be astronauts. And he's like, and then of course he talks about how the astronomer gets to study everything about space, but he never actually gets to go into space.
Yeah.
And just that whole thing about how Billy was technically an astronaut, but until the island, he couldn't actually meet dinosaurs and stuff like that. So that, to me, that was probably the deepest thing that I saw that I thought was actually pretty cool. And it is like, I think that a lot of people, that is how it is. There's people who want to study something and gain knowledge and, stuff like that and teach and things. And there's other people that they want to be in it, It's just kind of like, for me, I mean, you have people, you have like, I'm not a huge fan of this, obviously, but it just you have NASCAR drivers, but then you have the mechanics.
Yeah.
It's kind
Oh, that's
of
good. Yeah.
it's kind of
point. Yeah.
kind of like that whole ordeal, and so so to me, just a way to like try to understand people. And understand where they're coming from, what kind of person are they? And I thought that was pretty cool. And like
Yeah.
I said, I still kind of use it. But other than that, I don't know if
That's
there's anything
what
else
I
in
was
there.
thinking too. That whole dynamic between him and Billy, and when he thinks he dies, spoiler alert, he doesn't. He gets saved by the entire world military out of nowhere.
And the hat gets saved.
Huh?
And the hat gets saved.
Yeah, hat saved. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he tells him he steals raptor eggs. And he tells him how dangerous, and he tells him, he says, "You're no different than people that built this place." And then he's upset that that's the last thing he thinks he told him. But I do think it's pretty cool when he goes to throw the eggs, and Tia Leone, annoying lady, is like, what if they find us, with those eggs? And he goes, what if they find us without them? So that's pretty cool. I think the boat scene's okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the finale was pretty cool.
the satellite
but
phone
there's
is always ringing too. I remember that. Like,
Yeah, that thing was dumb. Like,
Oh, gosh.
that was absolutely terrible. Yeah, that whole thing was just, ugh. Like, I did not care for that at all. And it was like, got to keep finding that. Got to keep finding the phone. And I'm just like, really, the phone is what's holding this whole thing together? Like, I mean, I get it. They want to radio out because no one knows they're there, but And that satellite phone had batteries for days.
Yeah.
Had perfect charge. I don't know. Maybe they work that way. I have no idea. But it was just kind of like, really, especially when the Lost World, they couldn't get the satellite phone to work. So
Yeah, couldn't get it to work. Yeah, like how do you get this thing to? I just want to make a phone call.
yeah,
That was my really bad Jeff Goldblum. Sorry.
yeah.
But the funny story about this movie though, you know how like so I caught my brother one time after we saw this movie playing and reenacting this movie in his room, and I make fun of him about it to this day, even though he can make fun of me about always reenacting baseball games. But when he jumps off the bridge with the parachute, and Alan Grant's like, "No, Billy." Yeah. I overheard my brother in his room reenacting that scene. He's like, "No, Billy." But every time he does something stupid, I'll just say, "Oh yeah, you worried about Billy? No, Billy, no, Billy.
No."
Anyway, yeah, Scott, if you're watching, I just told the world.
Yeah. There you go. It's a good thing you didn't name your son Billy, because then you can't be like, "No,
I
Billy."
know, right?
I'd
No,
be thinking
Billy.
of that.
So Daniel brings up some really good points. So first off, this cracks me up. Who was always calling?
Yes. I know. I guess he had a satellite phone for his business. And that's why, like, the jingle
Whatever
of the
his
business
was, he's a painter or something,
Yeah, Paint Tile Plus. I remember that because it just, I don't know, it just sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so do we want, where do we want to go next here? Do we want to talk about the ending, or do we want to, do we have any,
we can go ahead. Even just talk about what Dana put here. It's like, why did the U.S. Marines, Army, everything show up? I mean, it's just like you don't, he's like, she sent everybody. He's like, what? Like she said.
How is she able to? Okay, so many questions.
Yeah. Yes.
So they're on a boat, and the Spinosaurus attacks them on a boat, which I believe was originally supposed to be in the first. That was supposed to be in the first movie, I think.
Was it first?
There was supposed to be something in the first two movies where there was a boat scene and a dinosaur, but Spielberg was like, "I'm not doing water again."
Right.
But and I'm just paraphrasing there, but I don't know all the details. But this scene happens, and the satellite phone, he calls Lord, Dr. Sadler, and she's like, Alan, and then they escape, they get away, and then they run into the raptors. And okay, so here's my question. All right, we're on Site B. These are supposed to be the same raptors from the Lost World. That have patience all of a sudden and understanding.
And their skin has changed.
And their skin has
nice
changed.
Designs, and
maybe they got
some of them have quills, like like a mohawk.
I don't know. Like, so the first two movies pretty much talk about how smart these creatures are, which this one does too, but also how like they don't have any. They're savages,
Yeah.
And they're probably hungry, and they just let them go. They
hear the noise, they grab their eggs, and they bounce.
Oh no, it's the military! Run away!
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
In the Lost World, they were literally, there was one diving his head through glass to try to, they were tagging people in cornfields. Maybe it was the whole, you know what it was? It was the gymnastic stuff that really just scared them, and they're
I guess
now.
so. I guess so.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh man.
But they had to get their kids back, so
Yeah, they had to get their kids back, So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all the military shows up, and they're saved, and Billy's saved. He's fine. Scott, don't worry about it. Billy's okay. And then they leave. They're gone.
Yep, they get on there and they're out of there, and Billy's like, "I saved your hat." So
yeah.
And it's like, okay, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So Daniel did point out that he does like the one scene in the lab that shows like all the various stages of the dinos, has all the embryos and stuff. And the last one has the raptor, and he like blinks and it's like, that one's actually alive. So that one was pretty cool. That
phone's ringing.
That's right. That's the thing again. Like Daniel bringing it up, there are moments where you're just kind of like, man, you have promise there, but it just, especially in the light of the other two movies, there's just nothing. Like it just makes it really hard. It's like, man, why didn't I don't know what happened in production or anything like that where the whole thing fell apart. Maybe it was just I guess it may be just the lack of real plot. Like we were having struggling telling it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
There's just really no reason for this movie to exist, I guess, what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why they should have gone back to that island. At least with the Lost World, it was like, okay, we see what's happening with corporate, like they're trying to save the end. But at this point, it's like there's nothing. Like, I mean, even the opening credits, Jurassic Park 3, restricted, which also was kind of lame. But it's just like the goal was done. Like, it's protected islands and stuff. So why would anyone even? Oh, it's a restricted island. I'm gonna risk getting arrested, and that's it's just for some guy to go parasailing. Like it just it shouldn't exist. That's all that comes down to it.
It really shouldn't. And yeah, I mean the sense of adventure that the first two movies had. We talked about as kids watching Jurassic Park when they're driving in and the doors open, and then even the Lost World had a lot of that too. The whole sense of adventure and epicness. This movie had none of that. This movie is just like. It's just like, man, it's dark, and it's just like, there's nothing about it, and there's no like backstory to it, like, with corporate from Engine or anything like that. It's just like,
no real connection to the other two. The only connection from the other two was, well, we thought you've been on this island before. And then Billy's like, that was Isla Sorna. This is Isla Nublar. Like, that's it. That is the only connection that you have. And that's why it's just kind of like, it just,
which they didn't even do their research to see where he was, and that's another issue I have with this plot. None of them. So in the Lost World, we talked about Vince Vaughn says Hammond's check cleared. So I'm going in. None of them none of them looked into the Kirbys at all to find out what exactly they were doing.
Yeah.
The
mercenaries made a little bit more sense because they're like, well, the first half went through. And so somehow they got money, I guess. But but then they're like, oh, great, we're not going to get the rest of our money. And so that's where it's like, so at least the mercenaries kind of make sense because they got their deposit, I guess, because for their equipment. But like everybody else, it just doesn't, there's just a lot that just doesn't make sense. And so, Denzel on here, trolling us a little bit, but that's all right.
A little bit.
He's like, you should move on from Jurassic Park. Listen, we got 2 more movies, man. We got 2 more weeks. But
2 more movies.
But I will say, after this movie, I did think the movie world would have been like, yeah, we're going to move on from this franchise.
Yeah. And they did for a really long time.
Yeah, as they should have.
Yeah.
So
I don't know about you, but I put in our rundown here. I have an idea. I have a way to rewrite this movie that might make it a little bit better.
Please do tell us.
And it all has to do with how they got on the island. All right.
Okay.
So it involves the Kirbys and Laura Dern, Dr. Sadler, pulling at Dr. Grant's heartstrings a little bit. Okay. All right. Remember the first movie, his relationship with Lex and Tim. How that evolved and all that. All right. So movie starts off. Yeah, I have no way to fix the parasailing situation. I have no way. That's just dumb. I don't know how to fix that. So, okay, the Kirbys don't lie to him. All right? We have the whole scene where he says, nothing's going to get me back on that island, blah, 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 blah. Well, they're at that presentation, okay? They take him out, the same thing, but they don't lie to him. They say, here's the situation. Our son is lost on, whatever the island's called, and we need an expert. You've been around these creatures. You know what to do. We need an expert. He says, no, not at all. The next scene, he goes to Laura Dern's house. Maybe they're still together. I don't know. I didn't like that part either. That they're divorced. Not together. I didn't like that. So while they're having the conversation, she reminds him of Lex and Tim, and says, "What would you do if one of them were on the island?" Yeah. And that is what brings him on the rescue mission. She pulls out his heartstrings. He remembers them, and voila.
Yeah.
I think it makes the plot a little bit better there. Instead of saying, "Here's my checkbook. I can write down anything you want. Let's go."
Yeah.
I'm gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and then even the conversation they had on the island, it's like, we've talked to government officials, we've done this, and nobody wants to help. Like, we're on our last leg here. And so, like, even that conversation and what you're saying would make a lot more sense to get them back on the island. And I think maybe the only other thing would be, like, instead of parasailing, they just, it's kind of dumb, but you have to kind of reuse it. But just like, they wanted to get close to the island and just be on the boat and just kind of like go around to see if they can see anything. And then they get attacked or something. Two of them get off the boat somehow, survive, get on the island, and then when they don't hear back, they know something went wrong and they want to go find them. Even that would be a little bit more believable. Like, hey, let's just try to go around this thing and see if we can see something than parasailing. I mean, it's still kind of dumb, but
yeah,
I mean, I just don't know how you fix it.
It's better than that. It's better than what we got.
Yeah, exactly. So Denzel's over here has got jokes. So he's like, prehistoric topic, getting old. And if you don't know Denzel, he is a man. He laughs, but he's ready to be a dad. His dad jokes are on point.
Pretty solid dad jokes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, this movie. I don't like it.
Yeah. There's not a lot to say. So why don't you go ahead and give your Hail Marys there, my man. And
okay. So I thought we're going to have the Hail Mary logo, but I thought it'd be fitting to rate this. How many Allens do we give this movie?
Allen! Yeah.
Okay. With the stuff I talked about that I liked, this is a 1 for me. Mm-hmm. And that sounds harsh, but
yeah.
Jurassic Park 3.
So just unwatchable for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 1.
Just unwatchable.
Even Dr. Alan Grant couldn't save it for me. It's a 1. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty rough. I mean, it's just hard. And I think maybe if they had maybe some more, I guess, action dino scenes, it might have saved it a little bit. But there's just a lot of time with these characters that don't develop at all. And like, other than Alan Grant a little bit with Billy and their dynamic, that's probably the best you get. But like Kirby's, you get nothing. The mercenaries are just there so they can just die. I know, got to get another movie for the child. So just watch it for now here, and then we're almost done. And then please, Nala, and then yeah. So I mean, for me, I guess I guess for me, it's like if I'm going through the franchise and different stuff like that, I guess I will kind of watch it, maybe once every couple of years and stuff. But I don't know. To me, I just go 2, just because for me, I feel like a 1 is completely unwatchable and I'll probably never watch it again. That's how I see a 1.
Gotcha.
So for me, it's still bad. Like
Yeah.
it's still pretty bad. But like if need be, if I need to watch it again, or if I'm watching through with the girls, hey, you're watching this too, like I can get through it and be like, okay, at least that's cool. At least that's cool. At least that's cool. Even though the whole movie is absolute trash. If you never seen it, just skip it. It's fine. And so just completely skip it.
Yeah.
You're not
This
missing
movie-
anything.
And
but-
part of the reason why I dislike it so much is because I've seen it a lot. This movie was on TBS constantly growing up.
It went to the
always
TV fast.
on. It was always on, and and Scott always wanted to watch it because he's lame.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I'm never one to go out and be like, oh, I want to watch this one again, like the other ones. But it just, I mean, it's pretty unwatchable. I just thought there was enough to get me through if I need to watch it with somebody who needs to watch the entire series again. Like, or maybe it's just like, you know what? I like the Spinosaurus enough. I think he wrecks through it. So I'll fast forward and watch his parts, or something, because I just think of something like, for me, which I understand for you, you'll never watch it again. You give it a 1 perfect. Like, I get that. But because for me, it's the same. If it's a 1, it's going to be unwatchable.
Yeah.
And so I can at least find some things. But
the plot and the characters just bring it down so much for me. I just can't.
No, it is. It's a struggle. Like I said, I can find reasons to be okay to watch through it. But,
yeah,
I mean, and that's why it gets a 2. But, I mean, for most people, it would be a 1. It's completely, I mean, it's pretty unwatchable on most standards.
I wonder what my friend Alan thinks about this movie. I'll have to ask him.
You do need to ask him.
Alan.
Yeah. So like we said before, because of this movie, this franchise had a long hiatus.
It did until 2015, which we will talk about that next week.
Yep. Talk about it next week. Jurassic World.
The park is open.
Yep.
Let's see what happens.
That was another one that when that was announced, another, oh man, this is great. They're bringing this back. So it's like everyone just like, oh, they're bringing it back. Sweet. Even though the third one was terrible, people are like, all right, cool. Let's give this a chance. So we'll be digging into that. And a lot more excited to be digging into that one than what today was. But
Yes.
had to be faithful. Had to be faithful.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, join us next week. I will be back on Wednesday for yet another edition of Western Wednesday.
Woo!
And do it. I'm going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite Westerns of all time, the one that's right here behind me, Tombstone. So
Yeah.
I was going to wait a little bit for that one, but I just can't. I'm ready to talk about it. I want to watch it again. So Tombstone
And we did
on
have
Wednesday.
And we did have people looking forward. Hey, when are you bringing it back? So
Yeah. So my horse Naysayer is loose somewhere. I got a horse named Naysayer. I don't know where he went, but
yeah,
I'm excited about that.
yeah. So cool. So we have that, and then this Friday,
Oh yeah,
Gary and I are heading to South Carolina to watch Tenet.
Going to Tenet.
Yeah.
Tenet.
So there will be a Tenet review very soon. We'll see. We'll talk later when we want to do. If we want to do it that night, if we want to do it over the weekend, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we'll have a Tenet review for you because we're assuming that most of you guys watching probably aren't going to be as crazy as us to drive an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to go watch a movie. So we got you.
Yeah. Yeah, we got you. We're dedicated. We're dedicated.
Yes. Yes, we are.
We got Denzel here saying he wants to go. So
Oh, Dens. Yes.
take me with you.
Take me. Yeah, all right. We got someone who's down. Yeah.
There we go. Hey, road
Now we're
tripping.
talking.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got some exciting stuff coming, and we got two deep dives, digging deep, whatever you want to call it. Two more Jurassic Park movies.
Two
And
more left. And honestly, if things go the way we want, maybe North Carolina gets opened back up and we get movie theaters, and this deep dive series will end right when we can start going back to movies again, and new trailers start coming out, and we can start talking about a lot more new stuff. So that'd be cool. And then if you have a suggestion on another series that you would like us to do a deep dive on, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
You know, we can do that and talk about it. It'd be great.
Yep. I don't want to. Tim Bussey said we should talk about Driving Miss Daisy.
Oh, dear
I've never
heavens.
seen that. I've never seen that movie. So, but anyway.
Yeah, there we go.
One suggestion we got. We'll think about it. I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it. So,
Yeah. So, there you go. Denzel brought up a good one. Deep dive on Mandalorian. Yeah. Maybe, supposedly season 2 comes out in October is what someone leaked. So, hey, maybe around then we could do some of that. But that's what we have. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And Gary, we'll see you Wednesday. And we'll be talking about Tenet soon. And maybe we'll have our first kid review. Lots of things on the horizon. Just turn on that bell, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the stuff that's coming.
Yep. Bye, friends.
Yeah. See you, everybody.